Good morning. How many of you make an attempt to be understood the first time every time you deliver a message or speak to a group? How many of you employ tools or methods to try and facilitate that in a little better manner? Nearly every one of us wish to be understood and understood correctly the first time it goes around. After this talk, you will have some tools to help you do just that. I have studied and I have learned and I have found what I believe to be the basis of the foundation of human interaction, of customer interaction, and that is understanding the rhetorical situation. But first, let's consider communication. What is communication? Communication is the imparting or transfer of knowledge and information and news. Are you aware that the average person in the 20-hour work week, 20-year span of their career, 6.5 hours a day of workday, 80% is spent on communication. That's the exchange and transfer of information and news, 6.5 hours a day, 40,000 hours of their 20-year career are working, day in, day out, exchanging information, delivering messages, writing emails, typing up reports. Now, this is a lot of time that enables a communication breakdown by not understanding the rhetorical situation where it's in. And this is usually blamed on a specific individual or a group of people. It's being said that they don't really know what they're talking about. That's just how they communicate. But this is just not the case. You see, communication is a skill that needs to be focused and learned and built upon. It's something that we can all do, but it has to be learned and has to be practiced. So now that we have all this information, where do we start? Well, luckily for you, we can begin by understanding what a rhetorical situation is. Now, you have to understand why you're talking or giving the message or writing the document in the first place, which is your purpose. You have to understand who you're delivering it to, what kind of group of people is it going to, which is your audience. And then the whole context of the situation, which brings the specific attitude or message or the sensitivity that you need to follow in order to have that message passed along and understood correctly the first time. Let's take the rhetorical situation of report writing. Report writing is a one-sided communication, a way to do things. It's updating some information and giving it to somebody else, letting them know the outcome or the current ongoings of any given particular situation. Now, these reports need to be rhetorically aware. If you are knowing the purpose of your report, are you trying to offer somebody information? Are you reporting your status on a timeline? And your audience, is that your boss? Is that your friends? Your report would be a lot different if you were reporting to a police officer, say, for an accident that just happened on the side of the road, and then you go home later that night and tell your friends. That report will be just a little bit different. It's the context and your audience and the purpose, for that matter, that shape your report. So it's important to understand that you need to leave your biases at the side, write or speak in an objective, logical, and factual way. This is not the same case for emails, which brings me to my next point. Emails are generally informal. You can use them to respond to inquiries or try to gather information. Now, if you plug the emails into the center of the rhetorical situation diagram here, you have to understand your purpose again of the email. Are you trying to deliver information? Are you asking questions, hoping to receive information? Who are you sending to? Who is your audience? Is it your boss? Is it your friends? Is it your colleague that wants to know more about the report that's going on that you had just typed? Or is it your boss, letting you know what you think about someone getting fired? Well, that'll bring me to my next point in a second. But when all these emails are going out, even though it's informal, it's important to understand that it needs to be revised still. It's still a professional document. So when we get into the sensitivity of the content of the emails, if the context is outside of the scope, then we need to understand face-to-face conversations, face-to-face presentations. That's a little bit more necessary for that. So that being said, we'll put in face-to-face presentations in the diagram itself. We'll understand the purpose of it, which is to deliver, in this case, you want to give someone a promotion. And then the audience, we'll say that is an employee of yours. And the context, this employee has never been promoted before. So you can take all these things and then fit it to a message that is suitable for that environment. One last thing I'd like to say regarding face-to-face presentations is customer interaction. Every time you interact with a customer, whether it is written or verbal, it's just like having a miniature face-to-face presentation. It's important to understand who your customer is, who the audience is. It's important to remember to speak in a way what you want your customer or your audience to remember. And the whole context of the situation is important to take into account due to our environment and situation socially, professionally, as a dynamic thing. So being rhetorically aware when it comes to face-to-face conversations with customers or written documents is very important. So all this being said, we have went over what a rhetorical situation is, rhetorical awareness, how to apply that when it comes to reports, face-to-face conversations and presentations, emails, and customer interaction. Going forward, being aware of your rhetorical situation is a great first step to build a foundation to be effective in your communications, both at work and at play. Now, I will take your questions.